I mean, you can put it both ways. Because if you actually,
one means one thing, the other means another thing. Are you interpreting it to mean this?
Who was killed in the Holocaust if not Jews?
no, the Jews were killed in the Holocaust, most definitely.
They were?
The Jewish people, yeah, they was killed in the Holocaust.
Well, then why are you saying that they're not real Jews? Because the people you're talking about are descendants of those people.
Because the Bible doesn't say the Jews are going to get killed in the Holocaust. The Bible said the Jews was going to go onto slave ships.
Hold on, shut up. You just said Jews were killed in the Holocaust. Is that not what you just said?
Jewish. If I said Jews, forgive me. I mean Jewish people.
Oh, I see. So do you agree Jewish people were killed in the Holocaust, right?
Yes, Jewish people were killed in the Holocaust.
And what do you mean by a Jewish person then?
What do I think about a Jewish person?
No, what do you mean by a Jewish person?
I mean, Jewish is the religion that they kind of started practicing the study of. But by bloodline,
oh my God,
biblically, hold on before you silence me. Biblically, it says that the Jews would have certain traits and certain things that would happen to them as a sign that they would be the Jews.
The Nazis didn't round up people who were of a certain religion. You realize that, right? They rounded up ethnic Jews. By saying, "Oh, I'm converting to Christianity," that didn't save you. They looked at who your mother was and who your grandmother was, because it comes from the mother's line. That's how they decided who went to the camps. It's got nothing to do with their religion.
Yeah.
Right. But have you ever seen what Hitler actually said about the Jews?
What's that got to do with what I said? Can you respond to what I said? You said Jewish people were killed in the Holocaust. Do you not mean ethnic Jewish people?
No,
so the Nazis thought they were ethnically Jewish, so I guess they were wrong, right?
No, biblically Jewish people had a certain, for one, they had a certain skin color. For two, they had a certain
you don't answer
curse that was going to be set up on them.
Were the Nazis wrong when they rounded up ethnic Jews?
I don't believe in killing at all.
How is that an answer to my question? Were they wrong when they determined who was Jewish or not by their ethnicity? Were they wrong about that?
No.
Oh, they weren't wrong. So they did kill ethnic Jews.
You have to remember what he means by Jewish is Jew-like, like Jew-ish.
No, he's trying to say it's a religion, not an ethnicity. And I'm saying that's not how the Nazis decided who they rounded up, right?
When he says
I'm asking
Jewish,
him if the Nazis were mistaken about that. And now he's saying no.
Because he
knew exactly who he was rounding up. No matter what they actually were or what they actually.
When you say Jewish, do you mean, are you using the suffix ish like?
No, you already said.
Yes.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm using.
That's exactly
the religion, not the ethnicity.
Hey, someone says something is do you know the
I know what ish means, but he already said.
So
I don't know why none of you are listening to him. He said it's people who follow that religion. That's why he calls them Jewish. Not because he thinks they're ethnically descended from people who lived in, Israel. That's what he means. But he just contradicted himself because then he said the Nazis weren't wrong when they rounded up that ethnicity. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay, so let me break it down to you. The Nazis knew exactly who they were rounding up.
And who were they?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about where they actually came from or about,
who were they rounding up?
Religion they were. They were rounding up the Jewish people.
Meaning?
Meaning they knew exactly
what do you mean by Jewish people. You said it was a religion. Now you said it's got nothing to do with religion. Stop contradicting yourself, sir.
No, because I don't want you to take it into a big circle and try to confuse me. So I'm just going to have to dumb it down for you.
Because they were rounding up many, many, many more people than just Jewish people.
That's irrelevant. We're talking to a Hebrew Israelite. I don't want to hear about the other people. He has to explain whether he thinks the Nazis were just completely confused about what Jewish people means. And so far, he said it's people who follow religion. And I said, oh, so the Nazis must be mistaken when they thought it was an ethnicity. They actually thought it was a race, but it's certainly an ethnicity. And he has to either agree to that or deny that.
Okay, so let me sum it up for you. It's a... Go ahead, you got to say hi to you.
No, sorry, go ahead.
So basically, it's a nation of people, right? They call themselves Jews that follow this religion. Those were the main ones that got, damaged in the Holocaust.
So
from
the
the Holocaust.
nation of people. So you mean an ethnicity, right?
Yes, that call themselves Jews.
Right. So where do they come from?
Yeah, your guess is better than mine.
Right.
But I do know we started black, and there's no way that we ended that color.
Yeah, you're just talking shit. You're fucking.
No. Because y'all trying to make me have to be a racist.
Listen, your only evidence, you don't have any evidence, right? Your only claim is that it might have said a few words in the Bible. If you actually look at who was living around that time, they were not black. They were Middle Eastern. They've dug up skeletons, they've got DNA, they've got an idea of what Jesus looked like. And the closest they can find is an Iraqi Jew. That's what Jesus looked like. He didn't look like you, I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry to tell you.
Okay, that's fine about, your science. But according to Deuteronomy, these curses should be a sign of...
Yeah, that's not... Yeah, okay.
It's all part of the same Bible that Jesus is in. But, it's going to be a sign that's put up on us to show who we are in the last time, because we were going to be broken off as a nation because of the sins we committed. That's one reason why God is real.
Yeah, you guys need to work out your trauma some other way than lashing at a group of people.
You don't want to take it there. You don't want to take it to trauma. And we definitely not bashing, because those people are rich. They living good.
Oh, here we go.
That don't seem like...
here we go.
But we're not going to get on that, though, because,
Yeah, because it makes you look like shit, I know.
Yeah.
How do you know anything you've read in the Bible is true, Demetrius? Why is the Bible your source of truth?
Because the curses that he put on us for disobeying the Bible is too true. Just read 68 all the way down. Just read Deuteronomy 28, 15 to 68 all the way down.
Something is true because I read it and I believe it's true. Before reading it, why did you believe it was true?
I didn't know if it was true or not before reading who I actually was in the Bible.
So what convinced you? And have you read the Quran and the Torah and all the other holy texts?
Yeah, I haven't read it fully, but yeah, I've seen some things in it. And what convinced me that it was true is that, man, the Bible says these things are going to happen to us, and they actually happen to us. The Bible said that this is going to happen in the world. You said what happened to us?
Yeah. Speak for yourself. You can't speak for all of humanity. So what happened to you?
What happened to me is that I ended up in America, a born American, and this is not my country. This is not my land. That's what happened to me.
Can't that be explained by really simple history?
Yeah, and the simple history is also biblical history.
It's also non-biblical, right?
No, it's actually, it's non-ethical, but it's not non-biblical.
You could tell the narrative with or without Jesus Christ. So why do you choose to tell it with Jesus Christ?
Because Jesus is the one that ordained it to happen. God is the one that ordained it to happen.
Some would say that being born in America, you got dealt a very good hand. Why are you writing that off as some kind of biblical punishment?
Because the way that we got here and the way America was built was no punishment.
You, not your ancestors, you.
Because I'm still suffering from the things that they was washed up in their mind to do. Like, a lot of our people don't know, like, hey man, we shouldn't kill each other. Hey man, we shouldn't be out here gangbanging. We should get a job. And why do you think we destroy like that mentally?
Is that not from institutional problems that happened from practices in the 1700s and stuff like that? How does it get religious?
Because, like I said, it was ordained to happen like that because we didn't do what we were supposed to do. If we had to follow these commandments, we would have been living good. Everything would have been good. But since we didn't follow the commandments, we was brought to the lowest of the earth, to where everybody look at us like, man, look at these people. They call us a proverb and a byword. They literally, like, they look at us like we're not nothing besides for sports, and that's it. They don't know that a lot of these inventions in America was created by black people. They don't know that You know, we are strong, we are fast, we are, you know, we good, we got good style, we can dance. They don't look at us like that. They just look at us like, hey man, that African American can run. That boy can catch a ball. Look how high he jump. You see, that was a punishment for not being for not doing what we're supposed to do biblical. So that's what makes that Bible real. And just think about it. If we this strong and this fast and this athletic, how do we let a group of people come into our place and trick us or forcefully or use forces against us to get us on these ships and chain us up? And you know, if you look at the ratio of the slave masters or the capture masters and then the slaves on the boat, how in the world did these people overtake us?
There was
Guns. Guns.
John Brown led a bunch, I believe.
Yeah, they had good. They had stuff that we did not know nothing about. We had weapons, of course, but we didn't have no guns.
So
But we was still, they came in our land. They was in our territory.
yeah, no one's like condoning that. It just doesn't prove you're descended from Israel. I'm sorry, it doesn't.
Africa, Libya.
Demetrius, are you saying the state of Black Americans today in America is biblically, like the narrative comes from the Bible and not from other history?
I mean, it comes from other history because a lot of historians studied the Bible. They dedicated to knowing about the Bible because they know that that's a true book. That book is a living
But
book.
it's possible to know about the Atlantic slave trade without including any of the biblical stories, right? Why do I have to mention Adam and Eve or anything to talk about the Atlantic slave trade?
You don't have to unless you are a descendant of those curses, and then you should really understand and know why you cursed. But you don't have to personally, you know, use biblical text to
But
explain
Demetrius, you see how you're just using the word curse on top of the historical events, but I could explain to a Black American their family roots and their historical roots without any of this curse language, right?
Yeah, you could, but the Bible calls it a curse because nothing. I mean, nothing.
Right. So
the opposite of good is what?
one narrative. So what makes you so certain about this narrative and not other narratives?
Well, give me another narrative that I wouldn't be certain about that you think I know.
That it was economically profitable for white institutionalists in the South to have Black Americans building up things for them for no cost of labor.
Yeah, and also they weren't susceptible to malaria. That's a big reason why.
And also, typically, they used native populations to do the work when they found new lands, but the native populations wouldn't work, so they killed them all off and brought in other populations to do the work.
You see, that's a
And those are
narrative
all,
that makes a lot of sense, right? But you don't need to say Jesus Christ or anything.
yeah, those are all very good narratives. But why do you think that they mind formed up to think like that?
Why do we think what?
Why do you think that they mind formed up to think like, hey, this is more profitable to bring these people over here to
They
do
want
this?
to make money.
Because they
because
they
of the
learned it
economic
from
system at the
centuries
time.
of humans doing that. Like humans have been using slaves way before the Atlantic slave trade. The Egyptians used slaves. The British used slaves.
Berbers had slaves.
The Bible has condoned slavery.
Most definitely. But to the extent to where the Americans did that happen?
To be fair, it was also the British at the time. They weren't Americans.
Well, yeah, okay. I say the Caucasians,
Yeah,
mostly Caucasians.
yeah. Because they were colonizers and they needed, and they wanted to do cash crops. It was very labor intensive, and they needed people to work, you know, on those agriculture, because they didn't have tractors and fucking combine harvesters then. I mean, it's just economics.
Money.
Yeah, somebody trained their mind to do those
No,
things.
no,
And that's,
train them. They just wanted money. That's what everyone wants.
okay, so let me ask you this: was they was they doing that for money back in in our villages back in Africa or wherever you say we from?
Yeah,
Was-
there's a lot of tribal
sell 'em to-
conflict in
didn't they sell 'em?
historic Ghana, historic Guinea, and the tribes would fight each other, and then the captured prisoners of wars would become slaves, like 2000 BC, 3000 BC, long before any idea of Jesus Christ. So this you can call it corruption, you can call it a lack of virtue, but it just, the reality is that humans are apes and that we're pretty nasty creatures and that we're going to treat each other pretty nastily, right? That's the narrative.
Okay, what was you about to say, Heidi?
Oh, just what
Maybe.
everyone else said about the reason there were like these slaves available was most likely they were prisoner of wars from like various, tribes fighting each other. That's my understanding too.
Okay. And yeah, so, to understand why they actually came to that part of, just why did everything conspire the way it did, and then for the Bible to fit so perfectly how it fits.
Oh my god.
It's just, that can't be coincidence, could it?
Yeah,
If everybody
Post
yeah,
hoc.
probably.
It can easily be post hoc.
You said it could be post-op?
Post
hoc.
Yeah, it could be. But it's still saying things that's happening to this day right now.
Oh my god.
So Demetrius,
Look,
why
I
why
thought you
would
were a believer guy. Why you say, oh my God? Go ahead, Rick.
The expression.
if this is the case, why did God, like the omniscient controller of the universe, have all of these horrible events unfold onto Black Americans and Black Africans and all of these things, and then have them find out thousands of years later through His Bible? Why tell them the truth that way? Why not tell them immediately, or why never have the events happen in the first place, etc.?
It's because we hard-headed. Because if we didn't get punished, we would have never stopped doing the stuff that we was doing. So we had to get punished. And now we're looking at it like, dang, we probably was stupid for breaking these commandments. Let's get back to it. Because even I don't know if y'all even know about the Bible, too much about the Bible, but even after they left Egypt, they were still like, complaining and not trusting and still sinning and sacrificed to other idols. They even created a whole new idol. But yes, it's because we hard headed. So He had to punish us. Just like if your kid don't listen, if your kid stop listening, would you spank them? If your kid is like, if you walked into a store and start breaking stuff, every time you're in the store, you keep breaking. You're going to end up punishing for that. Teach them not to go in the store breaking stuff.
How does that explain, Demetrius, the human behavior before the Ten Commandments? They were doing the
When
same
was it
thing.
before that?
They were trading slaves in Africa long before the Ten Commandments. They were waging warfare in Africa long before the Ten Commandments. What was happening there?
The commandments are still in effect. But Moses just came down and fought them.
But they weren't speaking Hebrew or Greek or English or any modern language. They were speaking their indigenous tribal languages at the time, so they had no idea what the Ten Commandments were. So how could they have followed something that didn't even exist at the time?
Because the Ten Commandments is just a summarization of, every other commandment, the laws and statutes. So if you go all the way back to Adam and Eve, then, keep going down like to Abraham, of course he had commandments. Keep going down to Isaac, of course he had commandments. Keep going down to Jacob, of course they had commandments. They all had commandments. It don't matter what language they spoke with. Moses just brought it into he just brought them back into it. He was the one that led them out of their captivity and had to remind them these are the commandments. Keep these. So it really wasn't nothing new to some of the prophets or people like Moses that was ordained to know, understand. Any more questions?
No, I just wish you'd get out of this cult. Like I genuinely do.
Yeah, Demetrius, were you raised with these beliefs? Did you come to them later in life, or do your like your parents believe it, or your guardians? Is this what?
No, they actually hate me for saying that Jesus is black and that they shouldn't have the white Caesar Borgia hanging on their wall. They actually hate me for that.
So you read the Bible in isolation and came to these conclusions, or you were perhaps someone you met on the street, someone was proselytizing. Is that how you came to this? Like someone
one of my
That's somebody
childhood
that
friends
doesn't believe.
actually. Yeah, one of my childhood
So
friends actually, brought it to my attention. And then I'm real studious, so I like to, get books and do all this and do all of that. So I opened up the book and I just read, and it made so much sense. And then the more that I kept commandments, like when I started wearing fringes, when I started keeping my beard, not shaving my head bald, it just started rolling. Stop eating that pork, stop eating the crabs, the lobsters, other unclean foods. Started looking at my brothers because I grew up in a bad neighborhood. So started looking at my brothers like, hey, you need to start doing this instead of looking at them like, man, you killed the homie back in the day. I got to, you know, everything just kind of, you know, flew to how it's supposed to flow.
So have you suffered like a type of persecution for having this kind of belief in the community that you're from? Do you feel that or no?
Most definitely. They don't like to hear that they gotta control themselves. They gotta have self control and follow these law, statutes, and commandments. People do not like hearing that at all, especially when you're younger than them. If you tell them like, "Hey, bro, that pork it'll give you high blood pressure. That stuff will kill you, and that's a curse. You're gonna die from clogged arteries and stuff like that. Stop eating that stuff." They don't want to hear that.
Do you ever look into the Nation of
Yeah, I know about Islam.
I feel like it would give you the exact same discipline and, a lot of the same rules. I just don't know why you would choose this over the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, but I think Islam. I'm not too really sure how to say this. I mean, I guess everybody have their own religion, and Islam was created,
The Nation of
not too
Islam
long ago.
is distinct from the religion of Islam. They're different religions.
No, I understand that though, but it was all created like off the same basis, should I say?
Yeah, Hebrew Israelites
And then they
was
both use the
created
Bible.
as well, like, I don't know, 100 years ago. It's extremely new.
Oh, not even that far, dude. It's like 50 years.
Yeah, we started waking up. They said it was going to be a curse, 450-year curse, and then for some reason after 450 years, directly after, people started waking up. When I came into the truth, it was probably about 2012, maybe.
So this is Frank Cherry and William Crowdy.
Who?
Those are the origin founders of the Black Hebrew Israelite movement.
Oh, the One West? I'm not too sure. I haven't done too much research into who started it or where it came from.
So they both
That's a good.
they both started it, and they both claim that they had revelations in which they believe that God told them that certain African Americans are descendants of the Hebrews in the Christian Bible. Do you think it's problematic that two men who say that God spoke to them is the origin of your beliefs?
Not if they use biblical text.
Right, but
I think when they find like
No, they had
using the Quran and
revelation. They said they had revelation.
right, because this isn't necessarily biblical, right? You have like 2 billion Christians or something, and you have a very, very small minority of Christians believing this, right? So this is a fringe interpretation of the Bible. Why would you trust these two random men who said that God spoke to them, right? It's usually pretty not great sign if someone says God spoke to them.
I actually have a
that's
fringe.
definitely true. Let me answer really. That's most definitely true. But then if you can use the Bible to make that make sense, then you're like, I always use the example like, why is the sky blue? Most scientists say because of reflection of the this and that. And I mean, it's clear that it's a firmament above us and there's waters above the firmament. That's what is written. That's what it says.
Can I ask you a question, brother?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with your understanding on the Bible, right, when it says that concerning the Gospels here, when it says they had gathered in the upper chambers and all the windows and doors were sealed for fear of the Jews, Jesus appeared unto the disciples. Now, did he teleport into the room, or did he like phase shift through a wall? Like in your understanding?
Yeah, I'm not understanding. Maybe bring up the book, chapter, and the verse, and maybe
Hey,
get me.
Hold on a second, I'll have to find it. You don't remember, like, after, the scene after he was crucified? They were all gathering in the house and locked the windows and doors, right? And then Jesus appeared unto the disciples, and then Thomas was doubting him, be like, oh my God, not until I stick my hands in the side, right? You don't remember that story?
Yeah, I remember, but I'm not sure what your question is going there. So,
Oh, okay. So it says,
He's a Hebrew
that they
Israelite,
gathered,
right?
it says that they gathered, right? And the windows and doors were locked for fear of the Jews. So they were all gathering after the crucifixion, resurrection, right? And for fear of the Jews, they locked the windows and doors. And it says, and Jesus appeared unto the disciples. Now, in your understanding, in your faith, does he teleport in there? Does he phase shift? Or is it possible that he was already in the house in another room? Like, what do you believe about this?
I have no idea how he got in there. But that's a good question.
Okay, how about this one? The wedding miracle, water into wine. Would it be socially acceptable as a Jew to drink out of ceremonial washing jars?
Yeah, that's more of a man-made law instead of a God-given law.
Well, actually, they bring it up like 2 weeks later when they're like, hey, your buddies don't wash their hands before they eat. Why don't they honor the tradition of Moses and wash their hands before they eat? This ceremonial washing. And then Jesus says, why don't you stick to the tradition of Moses and honor your father and mother? And he